There are at least 3 ways to build most EDH decks. Strong! Fun! And mean! Let's look at the strong, fun, and mean ways that I would build Michonne, Ruthless Survivor, and the video starts right now. Special thanks to our Patreon supporters who power our channel. Check out our Patreon for monthly giveaways, exclusive content, and even a starring role in our fan fight series. Link in the description below. Hello and welcome to the day. Thank you for spending your time with us. Welcome back to another episode of Jake and Joel Are Magic. I am Joel. We're going to talk about the 3 ways that I would build the zombie-killing badass Michonne, Ruthless Survivor. But first, if you would, go down there and hit that like button, hit that subscribe button if you like the video by the end of it. And if there's a commander you want me to build 3 ways, let me know down in the comments and maybe you'll see it in an upcoming video. Let's check out this commander. Michonne, Ruthless Survivor, a green, a black, and 3 other for a 3/3 human warrior. When Michonne enters the battlefield, create 2 Walker tokens. Now these are 2/2/2 zombie tokens. As long as Michonne is equipped, she must be blocked if able. And whenever Michonne and at least 2 zombies attack, she gains Indestructible until end of turn. Now I really like this commander. I think that we've got a lot of cool things we can do here. We need some zombie tokens on the battlefield because she needs to be attacking with at least 2 zombies. If we can get her equipped, we can also force the opponent to block in ways that will benefit us, things like First Strike, things like deathtouch, and we are already going to be creating Walker tokens, zombie tokens, as Michonne enters the battlefield, so let's lean into that as a possible theme. So the strong, fun, and mean ways that I would build Michonne. Strong, we're going to go zombie tokens. We're going to lean into that first ability that creates the zombie tokens, and we're going to lean into that third ability that allows her to be indestructible as long as her 2 zombie backups are there with her. For the fun way, we're going to lean into the indestructible warrior aspect of Michonne. We're going to get a little flavorful with The Walking Dead. And then for the mean way, we are going to go deathtouch all the way. If her being indestructible and our zombie tokens, everybody's attacking with deathtouch, people are being forced to block and they are not surviving. Let's get into the strong way. So for the strong way, I want to start with creating zombie tokens, and that's going to use Endless Ranks of the Dead. 2 black, 2 other for an enchantment. At the beginning of your upkeep, put X 2/2 black zombie creature tokens onto the battlefield, where X is half the number of zombies you control, rounded down. We're already going to be creating them when we cast our commander, so if we can have this on the battlefield, our endless ranks of zombies are just going to keep growing and growing. Grave Titan is another way we can do this. 2 black, 4 other for a giant death-touching 6/6. When it enters the battlefield or attacks, put 2 2/2 black zombie creature tokens onto the battlefield. Straight up, I want recurrable ways, not just instants and sorceries, but recurrable ways to put zombie tokens onto the battlefield so that we can count on them as the game goes longer. Cards like Liliana's Death Majesty. 2 black, 3 other for a Liliana Planeswalker at 5 loyalty, +1 to create a 2/2 black zombie creature token, and then put the top 2 cards of your library into your graveyard. You can -3 to return target creature card from your graveyard straight to the battlefield. She can do this the turn she comes out. That creature's a black zombie in addition to its other colors and types, and if you can get her up to that -7 ult, destroy all non-zombie creatures. Here's a hint. Wait until after you've attacked with Michonne and 2 zombies so that she's got Indestructible until the end of the turn, and then destroy all non-zombie tokens. In parentheses, this will say, except for Indestructible Michonnes you may control. Pretty sick. Dreadhorde Invasion is a recurable way to keep at least a zombie on the battlefield at all times. At the beginning of your upkeep, you lose a life and you amass 1. That's putting a 1/1 counter on an army you control. But if you don't control an army, create a 0/0 black zombie army creature token. So there you go. And whenever a zombie token you control with power 6 or greater attacks, it gains lifelink until end of turn. So we can get a little bit of that life back. If that zombie army just keeps growing and growing and growing and attacking with Michonne, eventually we may get a 6/6 zombie token that we can attack with. Now we're creating all these zombie tokens. We might as well run things like Parallel Lives. 1 green, 3 other. If an effect would put 1 or more tokens onto the battlefield under your control, it puts twice that many of those tokens onto the battlefield instead. Pretty straightforward, right? That's what we want to do. Once we've got a bunch of zombies onto the battlefield, let's grow those zombies up. Let's get a little anthem abilities going. Cemetery Reaper, 2 black, 1 other for a 2/2 zombie. Other zombie creatures you control get +1/+1. And we can pay 3 tap it, exile target creature from a graveyard. Doesn't have to be ours. And in fact, we can target opponents' graveyard strategies by removing those creatures from the graveyard to put a 2/2 black zombie creature token onto our battlefield. So we got a little double dip there. An anthem and a recurable way to create zombies. Lord of the Accursed is a 3-cost 2/3. Other zombies you control get +1/+1. And our Lord here can pay 2 tap and all zombies gain menace until end of turn, making them even more difficult to block. Liliana's Mastery, 5 costs. Zombies you control get +1/+1, and when it enters the battlefield, you get to create 2 2/2 black zombie creature tokens. You'll see that a lot. We're going to be creating a lot of zombie tokens, and that's what we want to do. Undead War Chief, if we have any other zombie spells, cards that we can play, this card is going to make them cost 1 less, and it's going to give all of our zombies +2/+1. Real big zombies. Suddenly we're attacking with our 4/3 zombies that all used to be 2/2 zombie tokens. Pretty sick. Lord of the Undead is another anthem. All zombies get +1/+1, and pay 2 tap it, return target zombie card from your graveyard to your hand. A little bit of graveyard recursion. You also want to kind of cook some of that into this deck as well. We want to attack with this deck. We want to just be pushing in for damage, and stuff is going to die as a result of that, and so we need to have ways to return it either to our hand or to the battlefield so that we know we will be able to last the length of the game. Beastmaster Ascension is a fun way to get sort of an anthem effect going here. As long as Beastmaster Ascension has 7 or more quest counters on it, creatures you control are getting +5/+5. That's everything across the board. And to get those counters, all you have to do is have creatures attacking. I told you, that's what we're going to be doing with this deck. Whenever a creature you control attacks, we put a quest counter on there. Boom. We are going to pretty quickly get that +5/+5. I think Beastmaster Ascension is huge in this deck. There are also some utility zombies that will allow us to win in ways that aren't just attacking. Shepherd of Rot is a 2-cost zombie. You can tap it for each player to lose a life for each zombie on the battlefield. So as long as you can keep your life total higher than all your opponents, Shepherd of Rot can get in there and work towards a victory. Second Harvest is a little bit like Parallel Lives. 2 green, 2 other for an instant for each token you control. Put a token onto the battlefield that's a copy of that permanent. I like this because it's instant speed. We can wait till the end of our opponent's turn and suddenly our zombie army doubles in size. That could be the victory right there, especially if we've got some kind of anthem in our hand ready to make a big attack. I like Grimoire of the Dead because we will be able to eventually put all creature cards from all graveyards onto the battlefield under your control, and they count as zombies for just tapping and removing 3 study counters. Now, to get those study counters, we do have to pay 1 and discard a card, but if we have recursion built in, if we know what we're doing, we can put zombies into the graveyard that can just be brought back with every ability that we're going to be running and the bottom ability of Grimoire of the Dead. And then lastly, I did talk about the recursion, but I wanted to show you one of my favorite cards to do it, and this is a 2-cost enchantment called Oversold Cemetery. At the beginning of your upkeep, if you have 4 or more creature cards in your graveyard, you just get to return 1 to your hand, straight up. You can recast it. As long as there are 4 in your graveyard, you can just go grab one of those creatures, put it right back in your hand, and recast it on that turn. Zombies is a really fun strategy, and I think that Michonne is a great commander for those zombies. Let's talk about the fun way that I would build her, and that is leaning into the Indestructible Warrior aspect. So first off, Michonne is a sword-wielding warrior, so we should run Sword of the Perunes because it's going to help us with all of our zombies as well. 4 costs for an equipment as long as the equipped creature is tapped. Tapped creatures you control get +2/+0, so whenever she attacks, she and every other zombie that's attacking are all going to get +2/+0. As long as she's untapped, untapped creatures you control get +0/+2, and for 3 mana, you can tap or untap equipped creature. It's going to lead to bigger attacks. It's going to lead to a creature that can also untap and block. It's going to run really well. Sword of Vengeance is a 3-cost, does everything sort of sword, +2/+0, first strike, Vigi, trample, and haste. This sword is excellent and works great in tandem with our mean strategy of Death Touch. We'll get to that more later. Sword of Feast and Famine, just because this card is an absolute house in EDH, 3 for 2/2 and pro black, pro green. And whenever equipped creature deals combat damage, which we think she's going to get through a lot. People aren't going to be incentivized to block an indestructible creature that we're suiting up with a lot of cool stuff. That player discards a card and you untap all lands you control, so we can have all of our mana again in the second main phase after having used it in the first main phase. Now, a warrior is not limited to just a sword, although Michonne does choose to use a sword, but I have no doubt in my mind that she would pick up an obsidian battle axe if it were around. Equipped creature gets +2/+1 and has haste, and whenever a warrior creature comes into play, you can automatically just attach obsidian battle axe to it. So Michonne coming into play after this is already on the battlefield is going to get haste and start doing the good work immediately of attacking your opponents down. Harvest Hand is an interesting inclusion, you might think, but what we want it to do is die. It's a 3-cost 2/2. When it dies, return to the battlefield transformed under your control, and it becomes Scrounged Scythe. Here's another weapon that I'm pretty sure Michonne would use if she found it on the ground. Equipped creature gets +1/+1, and as long as it's a human, which our commander is, it has Menace. I just thought this was very flavorful. I'm pretty sure that if she was scrounging for weapons and she found a scythe that was in good repair, she would start using it. So Michonne knows how to be indestructible because she's an awesome fighter, but let's just go ahead and give everybody indestructible all the time. We're creating zombie tokens, so we're going to be able to fulfill Eldrazi Monument's second ability down there of sacrificing a creature to keep it on the battlefield. And as a great effect, creatures you control are going to get +1/+1 and have flying and indestructible. I don't think there's anything scarier than a flying indestructible zombie army led by Michonne coming right at you. Spectre Shroud, I think this is a very flavorful inclusion. It's not super wildly powerful, but she wears a shroud. This is a shroud. That's why this card is in the deck. It's a 2-cost equipment. Equipped creature gets +1/+0, which is fine. And whenever equipped creature deals combat damage to a player, that player discards a card from his or her hand. That's pretty sick as well. We're going to run it because we want to be flavorful. We want to suit Michonne up with a sword and a shroud and put some zombies by her and let her start going absolute ham. Chitinous Cloak, I don't know how to pronounce this. It's another cloak. If you want to lean into the cloak flavor, she definitely wears one. This is a decent one, +2/+2, and has Menace. That's not bad. You know, we're forcing 2 blocks. So if we're forcing blocks whenever she's equipped, having Menace on her is going to force 2 things to block her. And then if we can get down into our main strategy and start giving her Death Touch, we're definitely going to be killing off some creatures. We also have Gaze of Granite. Now, I wanted to run this because she's going to be indestructible just with her ability. She doesn't have to be equipped. As long as she is attacked with 2 zombies, that turn, she's going to be indestructible. So Gaze of Granite in the second main phase is going to be very powerful for us because for a green, 2 black, and X, destroy each non-land permanent with converted mana cost X, except for indestructible stuff. We're going to be able to wipe the board and our commander stay on the battlefield as long as she attacked with 2 zombies that turn. That's the fun way that I would do this. Let's build it a mean way too and look at Death Touch. The idea here is to give everything on our battlefield Death Touch. We're going to be forcing blocks. We're hopefully going to be giving Michonne first strike, and all of our zombie tokens are going to be fairly expendable because we would count on just making some more. So if everything has Death Touch, they're eventually going to have to block, and that's going to kill all of their stuff. Hooded Blightfang is where I chose to start with the main section because she wears a hood. Get it? I'm leaning into that pretty hard, Joel. Come on, ease up. Just calm down. Hooded Blightfang, 3-cost snake with Death Touch, 1/4. Whenever a creature you control with Death Touch attacks, each opponent loses 1 life, and you gain 1 life. And whenever a creature you control with Death Touch deals damage to a Planeswalker, kill that Planeswalker. That's pretty sweet. Now, you may be asking, Joel, how are we going to give everything Death Touch? With cards like this. Oran Frostfang, 2 green, 3 other. Attacking creatures you control have Death Touch. Whenever a creature you control deals combat damage to a player, draw a card. Sick! Oran Frostfang is so mean in this strategy, and definitely a card you want to be running. Also, Archetype of Finality, 2 black, 4 other, for a 2/3, but it says creatures you control have Death Touch. Creatures your opponents control lose Death Touch and can't have or gain Death Touch. Got him. Archetype of Finality says Death Touch us only, please. Michonne, zombies, get in there. Do some damage. Get it going. Bow of Nylea says attacking creatures you control have Death Touch, and we get some versatility cooked in. You can pay 2, tap it, and choose 1 to put a +1/+1 counter on target creature, or Bow of Nylea deals 2 damage to target creature with flying, or you gain 3 life, or put up to 4 target cards from your graveyard on the bottom of your library in any order. That first one I would say is the most often going to be the used one. You could also get some recurable life gain going with the 3 life if you're losing life residually across the course of the game. The part we like about this the best, though, attacking creatures you control have Death Touch. Michonne suited up with a first strike sword. Attacking creatures you control have Death Touch. Things are being forced to block. She's killing them before they even get a chance to touch her. Not to mention that she probably had some zombies attacking with her and had Indestructible anyway. If we just need to give Michonne Death Touch, Gorgon's Head is going to get that done for very cheap. 1 mana with a 2 equipped creature has Death Touch. Straight up, booyah. Fire Shrieker. If we need some other ways to give her first strike, this is one of the most premium ways to do it. For 3 mana with a 2 equipped creature has double strike. It's pretty excellent. When you combine it with Death Touch, you're killing stuff before it even gets the chance to touch you. Because they're Ruthless Stalker. I really like this because the opponent is going to be incentivized not to block. So that bottom ability, whenever a creature you control deals combat damage to a player, put a +1/+1 counter on that creature. Our big attacking line that all has Death Touch, a lot of it is going to get through. And every time it gets through with Khazra on the battlefield, +1/+1 counters are going to be placed on each creature that dealt damage. With all of this killing, Death Heap Ritual is going to be hugely advantageous to us. 4 mana for Morbid at the beginning of each end step. If a creature died this turn, you may draw a card. That's each end step, not just yours. So your death touching line, even if they're attacking you, if you can block, die, have a token die, kill one of their things even, you're going to get to draw cards and it's going to keep your hand full. One of your weaknesses with a big attacking deck is going to be keeping your hand full, and Death Reap Ritual is going to help you manage that. Undercity Uprising is a sorcery. Like I said, mostly I focused on cards that could stick around and do the job we wanted over and over again, whether it's create zombie tokens or give our stuff Death Touch. But if you just want to do it on one turn or you need a little more redundancy, 4 mana for a sorcery that says creatures you control gain Death Touch until end of turn, then target creature you control fights target creature you don't control. Give some random 2/2 zombie token Death Touch with everything else on your line, and then have that zombie go throw itself at one of their biggest things, kill it outright for 4 mana, and you get the Death Touch for the rest of the turn as well. I also want to run Driven to Despair here. 2 mana for the top part says until end of turn, creatures you control gain trample, and whenever this creature deals combat damage to a player, draw a card. That's more of me just trying to keep your hand full as you're attacking, because a lot of times decks like this have the propensity to just run out of fuel. And then Despair, Aftermath for 2 mana. Until end of turn, creatures you control gain menace, and whenever this creature deals combat to a player, that player discards a card. So we're going to get kind of a double doozy off of this. We're going to fill up our hand. We're going to empty somebody's hand. Driven to Despair has a place in this deck, I think. Sharpened Pitchfork is another flavor win for me. First off, it gives them first strike, and with this Death Touch strategy, you want Michonne to also have first strike, and you're going to just be sitting pretty, I'll tell you. Plus, Sharpened Pitchfork, I feel like Michonne, if she found this on the ground, she'd be like, hey, this could be a weapon, somebody use it. 2 mana for a 1 equip, it has first strike, and if it's a human, which Michonne is, it gets +1/+1, boom. It's everything we want right there. We're giving them Death Touch, we're giving them first strike. I also have another way to do that that's a little less humble. Moonsilver Spear. No, absolutely no flavor with this one whatsoever, but it's a house of a card. 4 mana for an artifact equipment that gives the equipped creature first strike, and whenever equipped creature attacks, put a 4/4 white angel creature token with flying onto the battlefield. That is the 3 ways that I would build Michonne Ruthless Survivor. Let's close the book. Thank you so much for watching. Like I said, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button if you like this video and you want to see more like it. Let me know down in the comments which commander you want me to build 3 ways, and maybe you'll see it in an upcoming video. If you want to support us further, we have a Patreon. The link is down in the description below. Any level gets you access to our Discord. Go check it out and see if you're a good fit. We think it's pretty cool. Other than that, I'm tapped out. I'll catch you later.